It's a great day to be out mulching our trees.
Well, that's great, Connie, because we only have 6,999 more trees to do today.
That's not too bad.
No. Oh, no.
What's he doing here?
I don't know, are we supposed to be somewhere, or is it Arbor Day?
I don't think so. The cooking show's about to start. Oh, thank you, Tree Man.
Thank you. Well, we've got a really exciting evening for you tonight, and we have a lot of great announcements and a good time, so come join the party.
We'll see you at 6:30. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you, Connie and Greg. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Root Ball 2021. We're thrilled to have you with us, and thank you so much for your support. This evening we have with us Chef Lance Gumer, who's going to be preparing some spring asparagus. You may know Lance from several places he's worked at over the last few years, including the Shed, the Federal, and the chain Bantam in Biddy, so all places well regarded. Lance has now started a business called Mercer Street Meals, where he prepares family-style meals for up to 2 to 4 folks. I am a very happy customer along with my family, and we encourage you to check out Mercer Street Meals online. And with that, let me introduce to you Lance Gumer.
Hey, good evening, everybody. What we're going to do is we're going to make a spring asparagus crostini or flatbread. This is just kind of a topping that you could put on any kind of vehicle of your choice, but for simplicity reasons, we're just going to put it on top of pita today. Please refer to your the recipe that we provided you as well as your ingredients, and let's get this thing going. All right. Let's start with some beautiful spring asparagus. I want you to see I've got like a surprise little piece of purple asparagus in there. It's a little weird. It came from my garden, but it's beautiful. Mike, will you please wash those under running water for me? And this is a neat technique. We're gonna take these little cherry tomatoes and we're gonna blanch and peel them. It sounds fancy, but it's so easy. So I'm taking a paring knife and I'm just cutting out the little navel end. I'm just gonna make a little hole there. Little itty bitty hole. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now, to blanch and peel means we're gonna take the skin off. And how do we do that? We have a little boiling water and we've taken little navel out and we're just gonna drop those little guys in boiling water for about 15 seconds. And when we come out, this is gonna be a method called shocking. So we blanch them, that's when we put them in the hot water, and we take them out and we shock them. Shocking stops the cooking. We put them from that hot water to the cold water. Now what should happen is then you can take your paring knife and just see that the skin just comes right off there and the tomato is intact. It's gorgeous.
Is there any particular type of tomato you recommend for this, Lance?
You know, I like the little cherry tomatoes. I like the beautiful colors. Look, there's some green ones in here and some yellow ones and red ones. And they just have so much flavor, the little ones. I don't particularly know why, but in spring at your local market, finding a good tomato will not be hard. All right, let's put together this delicious little topping. Okay, we're gonna take our asparagus. We're gonna get, for one serving, roughly a 1/4 cup. Now, you don't have to measure it, but I'm gonna cut the tops off because I like the way they look. And then I'm just gonna take a knife and rough chop the stems. Pick all that up and put it in my bowl. All right, I'm gonna cut my tomatoes in half, either lengthwise or widthwise, it doesn't really matter. All right, gonna take a beautiful green onion. This also just came out of our garden. And slice that thin. And we can slice the white part, we can slice the green part. It's all delicious.
Suppose it depends how much you like onions, right?
It does. But you know, we're taught to believe that you should eat something green every day. It's just a good way to live your life. So I'm gonna throw in all of that green onion because my mother told me to eat something green, and that's the only reason. I wish there was something more scientific behind it. But I don't know if you can't, obviously you can't smell this on camera, but these fresh green onions smell so good. And
Not strong enough to make me cry though, so that's
No. You'll cry when I only make one of these and don't share it with you. That's where the tears come in.
Fair enough. I hope I bought you off with
I'm
that.
kidding, Mike. And Mike and Trees Atlanta are going to be offering 5 Mercer Street meals to a lucky raffle winner. And I'm excited about that because that's my company. But I do promise you this. The onion I just used came straight from my garden. The asparagus that we use comes from our garden. Almost everything we do, something comes from our garden that day. And if you purchase or if you win these Mercer Street meals, you will be eating fresh stuff from our garden. I mean, let's move on. Okay.
And I will guarantee it's fresh. We've had it many times in my own home, so.
All right, so we've got our little chopped up vegetables in there. Mike, would you sprinkle just sprinkle that a light little dusting of salt? You can go a little heavier than that.
I know you can't take it off, so you have to put it on. So.
Smart. And the same, crack some black pepper in there. All right. So seasoning our vegetables, seasoning your meat, seasoning anything you cook is always the most important thing. A beautiful dish can be messed up by somebody didn't put salt in there, or somebody put too much salt in there. If you can get the seasoning right, you're a good cook. That's all there is to it. It's really simple. Anyway, I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil on there. And Mike, would you grate about half a cup of Fontina in there? Now I chose Fontina because it's such a versatile cheese. It melts really well, and it's creamy, it's buttery, and it tastes so good. It's easily accessible to anybody can find Fontina.
How are we looking there?
That looks great.
All right, okay.
That looks really good, Mike. Sure. Now we're gonna add an egg yolk to that. So I've got this beautiful farm egg. I'm gonna just harvest the yolk out of that. I'm gonna crack it in half. I'm gonna let that white just run off. And then I'm gonna pour the yolk onto my hand. And I'm gonna use my fingers like scissors and just cut the little white that was hanging off. And what I'm left with is just the egg yolk. Boom. That's gonna bind all of our stuff together. Like that's the cement, that's the glue that's gonna hold this little project together. And lastly, here's about a tablespoon of fresh basil. Mike, would you mind stirring all this together? Just get it all mixed.
You want to break up the yolk?
Yeah,
then? Okay.
the yolk is gonna act like the glue to hold all this together. So Mike is stirring that up all nice, and I don't know if you can see.
Beautiful dish.
It's a beautiful little pretty dish. And the great thing is, you know, this is all super healthy. So this is guilt-free eating. So next, I'm gonna take this little delicious mixture that Mike just mixed up of our spring vegetables, and I'm gonna spread it on top of this flatbread. I wouldn't limit this to just flatbread. You could put this kind of topping on a cracker or a bagel or a potato, just any kind of vessel you wanted. Okay. So we arranged it nicely, and we're gonna leave about an inch of ungarnished, untouched shell. Now what this kind of is, it's sort of like a picture. You put your picture in the middle and you have a frame around it and you don't put anything on the frame. After we get our flatbread assembled, we have our preheated oven at 350 degrees. I'm just gonna pop this onto a little sheet tray. And I'm gonna toss it in the oven for about 3 or 4 minutes, just until that cheese melts and that egg cooks, okay? 350, and then we'll just kind of let that cook for 3 or 4 minutes. I have dinner at Mike's house a lot, and his wife is an excellent cook. Mike always handles the wine. Now this is a, Mike, you're kind of an expert at this. What kind of wine would you serve with an asparagus dish?
You're going a little too far in the expertise, but
All
I do
right.
enjoy a glass of wine. There's no doubt about that. So this is a nice light dish with some fresh spring vegetables. So you're going to want something that's got a lot of acidity. So I would suggest something along the lines of a light Chardonnay, perhaps a French Chardonnay, which is not going to be as buttery, or also a Pinot Grigio or a Sauvignon Blanc would go really nice to wash this down. But if you're a wine lover like me, pretty much any wine will do, but those would be great suggestions.
Absolutely, good suggestion. And if you don't like wine, I'm a bourbon guy. I would have an old fashioned. But anyway, let's check on that tart. Oh boy, look at that. So, now you notice the cheese is melted and the egg is cooked. That means it's nice and safe. I'm just gonna take a little, what I have here is some fresh purple basil. And I'm just gonna sprinkle that purple basil over the top because it smells good, it's healthy, and it's pretty. A lot of the fun of springtime cooking is the colors and just how gorgeous it all is. So anyway, my little beautiful purple asparagus, and just for fun, I'm gonna drizzle a little olive oil on there too to just give it that kind of nice sheen. So real quick, just a summary of how easy this dish was. We're gonna take our asparagus, totally raw, wash it, chop it, mix it with some fontina, and an egg yolk to bind, a little bit of salt and pepper, herbs. I used basil, use whatever herb you want. Green onion, toss that in there. Anyway, we also blanched and peeled our tomatoes. Tossed the whole thing with a little olive oil and laid it on a bread. Easy peasy.
I think I could handle that.
Okay.
So to close this segment of the program, special thanks to Gracie and Lance Gumer for having us here in their home, and special thanks to Lance for teaching us this wonderful springtime appetizer. Also thanks today to Brave Voices Media, who is both producing and sponsoring this entire portion of the program. We thank you for that. Please check out Mercer Street Meals if you're looking for a great way to spend a night, not cooking in your kitchen, but enjoying the great work that Lance does for all his customers. We encourage you to stick around. In the next few minutes, we'll start the main portion of Root Ball 2021. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great evening.
Cheers.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to Trees Atlanta's 2021 Root Ball. We're so excited to be with you tonight. We wish you were here with us, but we're happy to be visiting you in your homes. Greg, how are you doing tonight? I haven't seen you in forever.
Hey, I'm doing great. 2020 was a challenging year. We hope that you, your friends, and your family have stayed safe and well.
Yes, and your support is what has really helped us get through this year and keep our programs strong. Everything from planting and maintaining trees to forest restoration and education. But Greg, I feel like something is missing for the party.
What would that be?
Don't know, like Tree Man.
No, champagne.
Champagne, that's what's missing from the party.
Thank you, Tree Man.
Thank you.
Well-deserved champagne for making it through this challenging year.
Cheers. Your support of the Root Ball is so important to Trees Atlanta. It really helps keep all of our programs strong. Everything from planting and maintaining trees to forest restoration and education. You've really helped us make sure that we support all of the Metro Atlanta community throughout the year and throughout our 36 years of history, and to keep Atlanta the city in the forest.
Trees Atlanta is so grateful for our supporters, our fantastic staff, and our volunteers. We couldn't have gotten through this year without them. This year was pretty successful. I mean, we planted over 6,000 trees. We restored over 1,000 acres. And the amazing thing is we actually educated 13,000 individuals. That's with, during COVID. It's pretty amazing.
It's very amazing. Tonight, you'll hear from many people who are near and dear to our hearts. You'll hear from our staff, our board president, our volunteers, and our founding executive director. We're also pleased tonight to present our Root Ball champions. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it last year because we didn't have a Root Ball, so we'll be recognizing not only this year's 2021 champions, but also those from 2020. Tonight, we'd also like to celebrate our 1 Million Tree Initiative. This initiative is with 10 environmental nonprofits, plus over 10 Metro Atlanta cities, helping to plant or conserve 1 million trees over the next 10 years.
Please remember this is a fundraiser, and to bid on our auction items regularly. Those proceeds, those funds, they all go to our programs. So bid often, drink more, and bid more. We have some exciting news about Trees Atlanta's new location on the west side of Atlanta. And if you stick around for the next hour, you can actually enjoy some of our best bloopers.
On behalf of Trees Atlanta's Root Ball Committee, our board, our staff, and Greg and I, thank you so much for attending tonight's Root Ball and for all of the support you provide us.
As most American cities are defined by their iconic skylines, beaches, or mountain ranges, Atlanta stands apart with its sea of trees. Atlanta is the most forest-rich major city in the United States, with an over 47% urban canopy, giving us the moniker, the city in the forest. The trees embrace not only the city proper, but the entire metropolitan region, where everyone is considered an Atlantan. You're among millions in the region benefiting from living under this dense canopy of trees.
I think one of the reasons that Trees Atlanta is such a beloved organization to work with is that people naturally have a connection to trees. They naturally have a connection to the outdoors and to nature. What's compelling is what happened in the past year. During the COVID pandemic, we found our greatest peace and refuge and even safety outdoors. Hopefully, people realize that it's due to the trees.
In 1985, the roots of Trees Atlanta's community-based reforestation efforts began. Recognizing the positive impact of trees on our neighborhoods, its residents and businesses, a group of citizens joined together with the Junior League of Atlanta, Central Atlanta Progress, and the Commissioner of Parks to create Trees Atlanta.
I was the only employee for 8 years, and so it was an adventure. But we had a hell of a lot of great volunteers. I called on everybody I could think of to help. There was a lady named Bee Haas who had raised money all over Atlanta, and Bee took me under her wing and she said, here's how you create a board, here's what you do. And she said, one of the things you need to do is have 3 years of projects so people think you're going to exist for 3 years. We went to the guy at SunTrust and I said, we have these projects. He said, do you mind if we give you money for 3 years? I said, oh, twist my arm, let's make it happen. We went from having no money to having enough money to plant 40 trees in the beginning. Volunteers were absolutely, absolutely important because they did everything. They did everything that I knew how to do or couldn't do or anything else. Over time, we realized that planting the trees is not the major thing, it's planting the community. And now it's one of our very, very most important things, the people that we've got working with us and the people that we have taught to enjoy the urban forest. Being the executive director is like being the conductor of a symphony. Everybody plays a part and everybody plays it beautifully. And all my job is to make everything work beautifully. So that's what I consider myself, a conductor of a symphony, and now the symphony goes on.
Trees Atlanta's mission is to protect and improve Atlanta's urban forest by replanting trees lost to time or removed for development, conserving existing trees and forested spaces, and educating and enabling stewardship in every neighborhood.
Being with Trees Atlanta has given me the opportunity to become more acquainted with the city that I grew up in.
Really, it is the people for me that make it so wonderful.
In the 18 years I've been around Trees Atlanta, there have been a lot of changes and growth that's been incredible.
I get to continue to work with people who I enjoy working with, right, which also gets me to keep coming back.
One of the reasons I like working at Trees Atlanta is the camaraderie of the staff, how everyone has really bought into the mission, and everyone is really interested in making an impact on the community.
In 2020, Trees Atlanta launched the 1 Million Trees Initiative, an ambitious goal to plant and conserve 1 million trees by 2030. We've partnered with 10 nonprofit organizations in 10 metro Atlanta cities, including the cities of Atlanta, Brookhaven, College Park, Decatur, Doraville, Dunwoody, East Point, Hapeville, Sandy Springs, and Smyrna.
The 1 Million Tree Initiative is very important because tree issues and the protection of trees and the importance of increasing our canopy is not just one city's issue. Through this work, we can learn from each other, teach each other, and amplify this message why it's so important to protect and improve the urban forest in all our cities.
In addition to our nonprofit and city partners, you play a key role in the success of this initiative. Your volunteerism, your voice, and your support create a greener, cooler, and healthier city for all Atlantans. For the countless ways you shape our city and improve Atlanta, thank you. Each tree planted is 1 in a million. Every tree protected is 1 in a million. You are 1 in a million.
Welcome from Sandy Springs. We're proud to be an urban city literally within a forest and a 1 Million Trees partner. We estimate that more than 60% of our city is shaded by trees, and protecting our natural resources is a priority of our city leadership. And we're constantly looking for ways to protect, preserve, and keep our green space. Since 2018, Sandy Springs has added more than 1,000 trees to our parks and along our city streets, in part due to our partnership with Trees Atlanta. We recently acquired property near the Chattahoochee National Recreation Area, adding more than 5 acres of protected forest to our green space network. We're happy to support your efforts to better our environment and improve our quality of life. Just like our trees here in the city, our future is growing. Cheers.
Greetings, this is John Dargle, your City of Atlanta Parks and Recreation Commissioner. It's a great day to be in the Parks and Recreation. We are delighted and extremely proud to partner with Trees Atlanta in this impactful 1 Million Trees initiative. The value this partnership brings to the city is immense. Enhancing our urban tree canopy is not only aesthetically pleasing and appealing to Atlanta's extensive landscape, it also positively impacts climate change, reduces pollution, and encourages social ties within our communities. Atlanta's contribution to this initiative has been realized in many ways. One example is through our recent acquisition and preservation of Lake Charlotte. Over 200 acres of forested land and wildlife habitat, the purchase of Lake Charlotte was made possible through the Conservation Fund and the work of Trees Atlanta. With the implementation of green infrastructure and water smart innovation, we're also revitalizing neighborhoods and expanding sustainable green spaces with the opening of Cook and West Side parks. We applaud Trees Atlanta for envisioning a more resilient and sustainably green Atlanta, and we are inspired to be part of the 1 Million Trees initiative. Thank you.
It's always fun to look back at past accomplishments, and we hope that you're as excited as we are about all that's been done. We also hope that you're excited about the 1 Million Tree Initiative. We truly believe that that's going to help make Atlanta a greener and healthier city. And I'd also like to say thank you to Marcia and all of the others who've been here, especially talking about our past. They were so instrumental in getting us to where we are today. And now Greg and I would like to take a moment to tell you about the work we've been doing.
Our neighborhoods and forest restoration programs have done so much this year, despite these challenging times in 2020. We are so excited about how much our neighborhoods and forest restoration programs have accomplished this year. We've had some serious growth in our neighborhoods community tree planting program, where we started to focus on planting in the private front yards. The reasons why we plant trees in front yards is because they live longer, grow stronger, and do more public good. We've actually expanded the program so much that almost 25% of our tree planting are plantings in front yards. This program continues to expand into many cities. We started in the city of Atlanta, but now we're in 4 other cities: Chamblee, Dunwoody, Sandy Springs, and Brookhaven. We're also in DeKalb County.
Our forest restoration team restores Atlanta's green spaces by removing invasive species such as kudzu, English ivy, and privet. They replace those species with native species, making the spaces healthier and greener.
One of our newest programs is our rain gardens. It's a part of green infrastructure. These gardens slow down stormwater, preventing it from going into our creeks and sewer systems, helping to save critical habitat for fish and other amphibians. The beauty also is that when it gets captured in these gardens, we're not only creating something of beauty for our neighborhoods, but we're also creating habitat for wildlife and pollinators.
We always say that partnership is part of Trees Atlanta's DNA. We simply could not do the work we do without our partners. And next, we'd like to highlight several of our partners who have helped us fulfill our mission.
Trees Atlanta is a community group, and partnership is fundamental to our success. We work alongside community members to make our neighborhoods greener, cooler, and healthier by planting and caring for trees. Our partners include Metro Atlanta cities, local nonprofits, businesses, universities, and schools. Our partnerships engage foundations, funders, and corporations whose employees volunteer as well as fund our work.
Neighborhoods is our largest program at Trees Atlanta, and it's the program that hosts volunteers the most. It's a great way for volunteers to get engaged. They can come and plant trees and learn more about our urban forests through our Neighborhoods program. Neighborhoods also reaches out to lots of communities, so we have volunteers from different neighborhoods around the city and other cities within Metro Atlanta who are helping to plan these projects and implement them, and then care for the trees long after they're planted.
Our partnership with the Atlanta Beltline to create and maintain the Atlanta Beltline Arboretum is one of our most visible and exciting collaborations. Trees Atlanta has planted over 4,800 trees and 211 acres of meadowland along the east side and west side trails, and include interesting spaces such as the Stumpery Garden in Reynoldstown, the Bog Garden and Longleaf Pine Savanna in West End, and the native azalea collections along both the east side and west side trails.
The Treehouse was a wonderful place to expand the education programming because we were literally right in front of the Atlanta Beltline East Side Trail. When we first moved in, the trail wasn't quite done, so we got to open up our back doors every day and watch the progress. So it's really neat to see the evolution of the trail and the arboretum that quickly came in and was planted along that path. And then weeks after, very quickly, seemingly overnight, that place just boomed and all the restaurants started showing up, the buildings started towering over us, and of course the people started arriving.
Our partnership with the Atlanta Beltline allows us to connect over 45 neighborhoods across Atlanta in a ribbon of green space filled with trees and native plants. Over 2 million visitors pass through this gateless botanical garden each year.
I think both our organizations, Atlanta Beltline and Trees Atlanta, have a sort of basic understanding that what we are collectively creating is a very unique experience that is unlike anything else, at least in the United States, if not anywhere else in the world, utilizing this 22-mile corridor.
In February 2021, the Flowering Forest, a living memorial to civil rights hero and public servant John Lewis, was created along John Lewis Freedom Parkway. Congressman Lewis was first elected to the U.S. House of Representatives for District 5 in 1986 and served 17 terms until his passing in 2020. Not long before his passing, Congressman Lewis reminded us it's our responsibility to leave this planet cleaner and greener. This must be our legacy. The Flowering Forest is a collaboration between Freedom Park Conservancy, the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, and Trees Atlanta. Youth Tree Team is a tremendously successful and important partnership with Atlanta Public Schools, corporate sponsors, and local businesses. Youth Tree Team has employed and educated 120 high school students to date, with 36 students hired for this summer. We are training the next generation of tree care professionals, environmental designers, conservationists, and ultimately, the next stewards of our natural environment.
They're coming here for 7 weeks, 35 working days, working 5 hours a day, and they're learning a valuable skill that nobody can take away from them.
We have a rotation with Restoration, the Beltline, and Neighborhoods, and they really just learn how to take care of our urban forests. We also do enrichment days where we take them to different colleges and different green infrastructure jobs.
We teach them resume writing, we teach them capstone, we teach them how to run a business through their capstone.
We also have financial literacy where we teach the kids how to budget, credit, very vital and important information. So really giving the kids a head start, giving them options post-high school.
It was very diverse. We were intentional with that to get different races and different backgrounds together. Whether you're affluent or you're not affluent, y'all were going to be working together for these 7 weeks. The students just had never been to the south side of Atlanta or knew anybody from the south side or knew anybody from the north, west, east side, whatever side they came from. Them crossing paths, they found out they had a lot more in common than they didn't.
When youth are able to see people like them in certain situations, it's inspiring. And so we want to make sure that since we are a very visible organization, that we can represent the community not only in what we're doing and protecting it, but also in who's protecting it.
I'm Dunwoody Mayor Lynn Deutsch, and I am so proud of our partnership with Trees Atlanta over the last 8 years. In fact, we can see your influence everywhere. Dunwoody has worked with Trees Atlanta and hundreds of volunteers to plant almost 2,000 trees in our community, including 150 trees planted recently during the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. And now we're excited to take that partnership to the next level as part of the 1 Million Trees initiative. So many of us have spent so much time outside during the pandemic that I know we're more appreciative than ever of Dunwoody's tree canopy. We know that trees are important to the environment, but they also make our community inviting and actually cooler. Thank you for your partnership, Trees Atlanta.
Greetings to you from Decatur. I'm Patty Garrett, Mayor of the City of Decatur, and today is Earth Day. The City of Decatur and Trees Atlanta have successfully collaborated for decades, including partnerships in Trees Atlanta Neighbor Woods Program, Woodlands Restoration in the Decatur Cemetery, and most recently with the 1 Million Trees Initiative. As a part of that initiative, we partnered with Trees Atlanta and residents for a front yard tree program. And I'm standing in front of one of those trees that we will watch grow and mature and become a beautiful shade tree. Thanks, Trees Atlanta. Salud.
Hi, I'm Alex Beasley. I'm the Associate Director of Donor Relations. We hope that you've been enjoying the evening thus far. We have a lot of exciting auction items and experiences to offer you. Hopefully you've been able to see our social media blasts throughout the week. As with all aspects of the Root Ball, your contributions directly fund our conservation, planting, and education throughout the Metro Atlanta area. So please bid generously, and we will be closing the auction at 8 p.m. tonight. Thank you.
The Root Ball is always a happy event, but it's also a celebration of all of our supporters. For without them, we could not fulfill our mission throughout Metro Atlanta. Our tree champions epitomize this can-do spirit, and we're proud to recognize the 2020 and 2021 award winners.
Volunteers are the heart of Trees Atlanta. We simply could not meet our mission without them. We can't thank them enough.
Corporate funders provide not only dollars for our projects, but they also provide employees who do projects as an employee team building throughout the city, planting and maintaining our trees. Corporations also provide leadership and mentorship to our team, and we've gotten many wonderful board members from great corporations across the city.
In 36 years, Trees Atlanta has been in every single neighborhood in Atlanta, planting trees and protecting their forests. In the last several years, we're also in over 12 other cities planting trees as well.
And community partners are so important as they collaborate and connect us with communities in which they live and serve.
There are a lot of ways to volunteer at Trees Atlanta. Some people work in the office while other people plant trees. We also have forest restoration, we collect data, and some of our volunteers are helping on really important projects like the John Lewis Flowering Forest.
And tonight we'd like to recognize our most outstanding partners through our Tree Champion Awards.
We're thrilled to introduce the following 2021 Tree Champions. Neighborhood of the Year, Westview. Through over 20 years of partnership, Westview has been one of the most involved neighborhoods in Atlanta. In total, the partnership between Trees Atlanta and Westview neighbors has yielded the planting of 1,606 trees. 137 trees were planted in the 2020-2021 season alone. Westview has also been an early adopter of our first ever green infrastructure projects, with its neighbors being some of the initial recipients of our rainwater gardens. Individual, Trish Treadwell. Trish has served on Trees Atlanta's board since 2013, has chaired the executive committee, and has been board president since 2018. Throughout her involvement, she has been a tireless cheerleader for Trees Atlanta, attending many planting and volunteer events. As chair of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Subcommittee, she guided the development of a comprehensive and thoughtful approach to improving diversity efforts within our staff and in the people we serve. Trish was a vital resource in guiding us through the challenges of COVID-19. She's been instrumental in overseeing our capital campaign, which will fund our future headquarters and supplement our tree planting and Beltline Arboretum plantings. Community partner, Freedom Park Conservancy. Freedom Park Conservancy was the lead partner in this year's Flowering Forest honoring John Lewis. Freedom Park was the site of a 3-day planting in February celebrating Black History Month, George's Arbor Day, and John Lewis's birthday. Over a 5-year period, Freedom Park Conservancy will lead the effort to extend the flowering forest with additional hundreds of blooming trees throughout Freedom Park. They've also worked with us for decades on invasive plant removals and have helped to plant over 1,000 trees in the park. Volunteer, Mike Snyder. Mike has been volunteering with Trees Atlanta for over 18 years. In addition to the countless trees he's had a hand in planting, Mike has organized and led projects throughout the city. Mike has always been more than willing to help however Trees Atlanta has needed him. He's driven trucks, built tool storage, led groups of volunteers, and more recently, he serves as the only volunteer architect on our building task force, where his opinions and expertise have been priceless. His positive attitude and work ethic make him invaluable on planting and restoration projects. Mike also excels as part of Team Trees in our nonprofit softball league. Corporate partner, Assurant. Assurant is one of Trees Atlanta's top 10 corporate donors over the past 3 years. They collaborated with us on 4 virtual events last summer with our education staff to showcase the East Side and West Side Beltline Trails, Browns Mill Food Forest, and a pollinator plant event. They highlighted Trees Atlanta on the Global Connect Live broadcast in early 2020. We are planning events for this summer and a Plantlanta project in November 2021. Assurant also provided an outstanding addition to our board. As we were not able to formally recognize them at last year's Root Ball, we're pleased to share the winners of the 2020 Tree Champion Awards. They are as follows. Neighborhood of the Year, Sherwood Forest. Individual, John McFarland. Community Partner, Georgia Audubon. Volunteer, Bill Pardue. Corporate Partner, MailChimp.
These individuals, partners, and companies are truly dedicated to Trees Atlanta's mission to plant trees and protect our forests. We are so lucky and proud to work with such a great group of people and individuals and companies.
To all those 2020 and 2021 award winners, thank you and congratulations.
Hi, I'm John Ernst, Mayor of Brookhaven. Since our city's founding in 2012, Brookhaven's commitment to our tree canopy has been a top priority, which is one of the reasons why Brookhaven is proud to be a partner of the 1 Million Tree Initiative. In our 8 years of existence, Brookhaven has conducted 4 tree canopy studies. Brookhaven is totally located within the perimeter, and while being the 4th densest city in the state, has 44% of our total land is covered by trees. We augment this with the Front Yard Tree Program and take every opportunity to relocate specimen trees from development areas to other areas of the city. We even have our own municipal nursery to stage trees until optimal locations identified. While we've taken great strides of progress towards tree preservation, we can do more. As we speak, the city of Brookhaven is taking a hard look at overhauling its existing tree ordinances with extensive public input from our community. So here's the 1 Million Tree Initiative, and cheers to 1 million more. I wish you all a tremendous Brookhaven Day.
Over the last 10 years, Connie and I have really focused on growing our education programs, focusing on youth education and job training to grow the new stewards of the next generation.
One of my favorite programs is our Youth Tree Team program, which is our high school job development program. It's hard to believe, but we are actually in our 6th year, and this year we'll be graduating 36 students. We're especially proud of the fact that at the end of the semester, we asked them, what are they likely to do in their future? And over they're telling us they would like to have green-collar jobs in the environmental industry, and that is music to our ears.
Now we're going to hear more about our education programs and what we need from you to help make them thrive.
As environmental educators, Trees Atlanta believes nature is everywhere. The trees in our yards, along city streets, in parks, and in forests throughout Metro Atlanta are where the first connections to nature begin for our children. Education has been a primary pillar of Trees Atlanta's mission from the very beginning. First, learning through volunteer service, then incrementally adding formal programming. We began with our Cornerstone Education Series for adults in 2008, then later added educational programs for youth, starting with in-classroom lessons in Atlanta public schools.
One of my goals at Trees Atlanta in the education department is finding opportunities to make it accessible to everyone, regardless of your socioeconomic status, your abilities, anything. How do we make the outdoors available to you? So making sure we're providing programming at the right time to people and making sure people can get to it, making sure people can learn from it effectively, and help them really develop a greater appreciation for urban forests.
The education curriculum grew and was expanded to a satellite learning center called the Tree House, the education branch of Trees Atlanta. Soon, summer camps were created and eventually sold out each year. Most recently, youth job training was added to an already robust curriculum. Trees Atlanta now teaches in over 60 schools throughout Metro Atlanta, engages over 300 campers each year, and has hired 36 teens for the summer 2021 high school job training program. From preschool to high school, Trees Atlanta is able to help spark curiosity, pass on knowledge, and plant the seeds of environmental stewardship through outdoor play, science, art, and service learning.
Education has always been a part of our mission, and we want to continue to grow that. So whether it's doing cooking classes or learning what kinds of things you can make with invasive species when it comes to tinctures or even baskets that you can weave using kudzu. We focused on increasing not only quantity but quality of our programming, and that was kind of a charge for us to look for more experts in the field for our speaker series, looking at more workshops, also highlighting the expertise of our own staff members, because we have so many field experts on our staff and we have several certified arborists, so we wanted to capitalize on that education and experience. 2020 came, and we know what that was. And despite that, we were able to change our operations very quickly. We incorporated Zoom, and we basically put every single thing that we do in person on a virtual platform. And we were still able to meet our goals with working with our schools, working with teachers, also working with families, and also our education programs.
Our virtual adult education classes exploded. Like, there were so many people wanting to take part in these, and so they could learn from the safety, comfort of their home about all of these topics, and then they could go into their yards or into their neighborhood as they felt safe to apply what they learned.
As we move to the new headquarters over in Oakland City, that will take precedence over what we're doing, because that particular space will be more front-facing. It will be more inviting for the community. We want them to be involved there, and we want to make sure that our education programs are the highlight of that space.
This work in nurturing and educating young environmental stewards is as important to our mission as planting young trees. From acorns, mighty oaks grow.
It is so important to create the stewards for the next generation. We also realize how important it is to connect our children and our youth to both the forest and the natural outdoors. This is so important for their physical and their mental health.
Please consider donating. All funds donated tonight will directly impact children for the summer camp for 1 week. Our goal tonight is to raise $5,000, which equates to 16 scholarships. For example, $300 allows one lucky child to have a week at camp. $100 provides a bike for a week at camp. And $25 is used for supplies and a backpack for one lucky camper.
You can support our camp and our campers by giving in the auction. And remember, give as much as you can. You can support the next generation and support this great program. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Bianca Motley Broom, the mayor of College Park. We're proud to partner with Trees Atlanta on the 1 Million Trees Initiative, because in our city, we're working every day to build the community that we deserve. And part of that is having a vibrant, beautiful tree canopy. We're working with Finding the Flint to get a 7-acre nature preserve in our city to make sure that we are returning some of the land back to nature in the way that it was always intended. We are excited about moving forward with all of our partners to make sure that the next generation can enjoy the tree canopy and all that College Park has to offer for many years to come.
As Metro Atlanta grows, the need for Trees Atlanta and our mission grows too. Our very first office was in a small brick building on Poplar Street in downtown Atlanta. We had only 4 employees for much of our early years. Since moving to the Candida Center on Chester Avenue, we've grown significantly. Our growth required a temporary expansion to Krog Street, where the Treehouse hosted our education programs for 5 years. 3 years ago, Trees Atlanta began renting additional space at Murphy Crossing on the west side to house our operations center and additional staff. The growth of our staff reflected the growth of our planting, forest restoration, and educational programming to more communities throughout Metro Atlanta. But that growth came with growing pains in space and administrative challenges. With the support of our board of directors, Trees Atlanta began searching for potential locations to build a single facility that could house our entire staff in one location. The search opened up possibilities of exploring where our work was most needed. A property located on Warner Street in southwest Atlanta became available. Trees Atlanta could make its new home in the Oakland City neighborhood on a 3-acre parcel connected to the Atlanta Beltline Arboretum and accessible by public transit, surrounded by established and growing communities, and large enough to create an open green space that could become a community resource.
We chose the west side because we're well established on the east side of Atlanta, having been in Reynoldstown, for the past 10 to 12 years. And so we wanted to be a part of the revitalization of that area. We realized that our services, planting, restoration, education services, really can have a big impact on the local communities. And we have had that big impact in East Atlanta. So we want to really duplicate that on the west side.
In 2019, the land at 825 Warner Street was purchased. The property has been known as the Bakery due to its history as a baked goods production facility. On the site still stands a steel grain silo where the bread grains were stored. This location will become Trees Atlanta's new headquarters and operations center with a planned move-in date of mid-2022.
I'm excited that the location that we ended up with is a place that we get to improve upon. Like it was a brown field that has to be remediated, and we get to make it better. We get to plant more trees and make it greener, and we get to do it in an area, in a community that's growing, that is vibrant, and we get to grow right along with them. So I'm excited about that.
This new facility is going to bring all of our staff together again, and it's going to bring us into a community where we've been working for many years. And hopefully we'll be able to build even stronger relationships with the people who live around that new facility.
We want to turn this new West Side location into really a community asset. So we want it to be a place where the community can freely come in, make use of the grounds of the property, as well as the conference and education spaces inside.
The 20,000 square foot building is double the size of Trees Atlanta's current headquarters. The 3-acre site will be landscaped with a learning garden, forest, and walking paths that will serve as Trees Atlanta's outdoor classrooms, as well as a gathering place for neighbors and visitors to the Atlanta Beltline West Side Trail. The building will house staff, education classrooms, and an event space available for rent. The building will be designed to be flexible and accommodate a multitude of uses and continue to meet changing future needs of the organization and the community.
I've seen some preliminary plans of the facility proper as well as the area, and I think that there will be a leading force in getting that area revitalized.
The city of Atlanta is expected to more than double in population by 2050. What this means to our city is that we're going to get a lot of good things. Growth is great. But it also means that there's some impacts that might not be so great. And one of it that we are particularly concerned about is the loss of trees. So not only are we mindful of the policies in our city and surrounding cities to this dynamic, but we're increasing our education and outreach to communities so that individuals realize that the resource they have in their backyards, in their parks, and in their local small forests are so important to their health and well-being. Because at the end of the day, trees are not only about being a wonderful recreation area, trees are critical to the health and well-being of the people in our community for many reasons. As we develop this city, we need to make sure that we leave space for these natural resources that are taking care of us.
We welcome you to join us in 2022 at our new home and continue growing with us.
I'm Dorville Mayor Joseph Geierman. For the last 5 years, the City of Dorville has partnered with Trees Atlanta to help improve our parks, streets, schools, and neighborhoods. Trees are vital not only because they provide shade, but also because they help reduce noise and provide our neighborhoods with beautiful green space. In 2020, I'm proud to say that the city joined the 1 Million Trees Initiative. We did this in order to show our commitment to fighting climate change, as well as do our part to help build a greener future. In the last few months, the city partnered with Trees Atlanta to do a tree planting event in Autumn Park, where I'm standing right now, and we're excited to be able to do similar events as we move into the coming year. Together, we can do our part to protect the environment and to make Doraville a beautiful place to live for decades to come.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you're as excited as we are about the future of Trees Atlanta. As we continue to fulfill our mission, we'll also be focused on building our new building on the west side.
We're looking forward to Trees Atlanta's future. Thank you so much for all of your support. And remember, there is no Trees Atlanta without you. You're one in a million. So grab your drink and let's make a toast to the future of Trees Atlanta and the trees.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
We're also pleased tonight to present our 2020 and 2021 We're also pleased tonight to present our 2020 and 2021 Root Ball Champion. God.
We so much look forward to blah 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 on the blah 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 blah. Sorry, it is so blah 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 blah. Okay. Please remember this is a fundraiser, and use a lot. Please remember this is a fundraiser. Sorry. Please. Please.
One of my favorite programs is our Youth Tree Team program, which is our professional. Tree Champions epitomize the spirit of can-doism. Can-doism.
I love it. I think you should have
That was making the blooper. Okay.